Welcome, Allan, to Metallarian Pages. It's a great pleasure to talk with you about Dune and this new album, Void Kind, and obviously more things related to the metal world in general. So we'll start by asking how has the band been during the last 3 years? Because your last album, Etenam Ainka, was released in 2021, and now we have this third album.
Yeah, so a little kind of synopsis for what we've done in the last 3 years. Thanks for talking to me. First of all, it's a pleasure. We've been pretty busy. We've done quite a few shows, and quite a few festival slots that I'm, to be honest, really thrilled that we had and that we got to play. Since Etmananka got released, it did maybe better than we expected, better than we probably hoped, to be honest. And it gave us a lot of opportunities to play festivals like Hellfest, Resurrection Fest in Spain, that type of thing. Those were just fantastic experiences, and just things we'd had ambitions of since we were kids. Really, to be able to play stages like that with bands that we're all fans of. I mean, we're all still fans anyway, so it was great to go to festivals like that and just sort of hang out as a fan and just watch all these bands, like some of my favorite bands like Alcest and that type of thing. So it's been class. It's been a bit of a roller coaster. It's been good, and just excited to get this new album out into the world and see how it does.
Okay, nice. Well, interesting to know a lot of festivals you played promoting the previous album, Eteman Ainka. So now, how was the composition process for this Void Kind? Perhaps it was different compared to the first two. Who knows?
Yeah. No, it was different because my history with the band is I joined the band in 2015, but I kind of come in and out of it because I've got a family, I've got a full-time job, so I can't really give all my time to the band. So Etmananka was done with our friend Jack, who worked with Victor, a guitar player, Dudley, the drummer, and Dan, our other guitarist, for Etmananka. So it was quite different. Victor wrote the majority of the stuff on Etmananka, and Jack helped out with a few tracks as well. On this one, it was mostly myself, Dudley, and Victor who wrote all the music. We just sort of got in a practice space together and jammed it out over the course of maybe about a year or so, just kind of refining things, just getting a whole load of riffs together. So we had a massive bank of riffs that we could work from and kind of knit songs together. So from that perspective, writing of it was a bit different. There's other processes as well. I would maybe sit at home and come up with a track myself, just playing through the laptop. But the majority of the stuff was done just jamming, and that's probably the best way to do it because it allows us to get a better feel for it. Because when you're jamming with Dudley, who's a great drummer, he's also got a lot of great ideas for composition as well. So he can help put it all together, and he knows which bits flow better. And he has also got quite a lot of good ideas about moving riffs about, maybe playing them slightly differently in a different time signature or whatnot. So it's just a really fun time, just creating the whole album.
Okay, interesting to know. Well, this is compared to the first album, Void Kind is your second album, and this second album is released with Metal Blade Records, a great label in the world. So how was the support of Metal Blade Records since your second album, Eteman Ainka, to this Void Kind?
Yeah, no, they've been great. They've been fairly hands-off as well. They just kind of, I think they're trusting us to do kind of what we want. I think they know what they're going to get. So they've been fantastic. And it's a great label to be on. I mean, when we found out we were signing with them, we were just over the moon. Because it's such a legendary label. Be going for so long with so many amazing bands. Like started off Metallica, Slayer have been on it. Cannibal Corpse. You can list them off. Even up to today with more kind of post-metal bands like Cult of Luna and If These Trees Could Talk. There's just so many great bands. So it's just a great label to be on, And so this is our second one. We've got another one to do for Metal Blade, and we'll see what happens there. Whether we stay with them, I don't know. We'll see how things go with this one.
Okay. Well, compared to the previous album with this new one, I remember that the Etenam Ainka has more progressive stuff into there. Now you are leading down a little more with the slush because you have a big influence like Mastodon it is. So for this aspect, well, that's my appreciation as a reviewer. But as you are a composer and writing the music, so how many difference do you encounter in this new album compared to the previous one?
Yeah, so coming out of the last album, we kind of knew what we wanted this one to sound like. So for me, I wanted it to be, like you say, a little bit sludgier, a bit dirtier, heavier sections in it. You know, some really heavy parts. That's what I was looking for. But I also wanted the nicer parts, the prettier parts, to be a bit more sparse and a bit more stand out as well, maybe a little bit more psychedelic. So we just wanted to kind of take the aspects of what we did on It and Anka and then just accentuate each part. You know, so one thing with Etemin as well is there's a lot of layers on it. So we wanted to kind of strip it back a little bit, and which is a bit of a strange thing because I mean, you'd think taking guitars off would make it sound less heavy, but it makes it sound heavier. You know, this is the opposite that you would think. So we've only got a couple of guitars going on the left and right, whereas before there's maybe 4 or 5 guitars happening at one time. So it just gives us a far thicker sound. And the production that Graham Young, our friend and producer, did was just fantastic. So he's done all the last 3 records, and this one, I think, to me, sounds the best production wise. It's more where we wanted it to go. We wanted it to be a little bit just bigger sounding, a little bit rawer as well. You know, more like our live show really. But yeah, it's great, and also the addition of keyboards as well, which were on the last album, and again they come to the fore on this album as well. It's just it's really happy with how it's turned out.
Okay, so returning to the interview, so
Mhm.
talking about, well, as you can see now, the world's changing very fast, especially for the music industry. In the beginning, in the since 60s, 5s, 70s, 80s, 90s, the music spread just by albums, EPs, this kind of stuff. And now we're returning on time, promoting the music as singles, and especially for the digital platforms, the music hearing just singles. Also, I saw that you released 1, 2 singles for this new album. That's normally now, but if we try to relate or to try categorize all textures layers that this void kind has, for you, which single or singles are the best options to understand whole idea that this void kind has?
All right, okay, so the whole story really. Well, the 2 singles that we released, Pleroma and Abode of the Perfect Soul, sonically they're quite different. They sound quite different. Pleroma is probably the most sort of accessible song that we've done, which is one of the reasons why it came out first. But it's perhaps not the best representation of the sound of the album as a whole. Whereas Abode of the Perfect Soul would maybe encapsulate that a little bit better. It would be so for the sound of where we are at the moment and maybe where we're going to go in the future. Abode of the Perfect Soul is probably more of a blueprint for the record and where we're going to go, because it's got the sludgier riffs, it's still got the nice singing in it, it's got dirty singing, it's just everything that we do in one track. But from a story point of view, they both tell important parts of the story of the record, but Pleroma probably has one of the more sort of important sections of the story inside it. So from that point of view, that would be probably the most important one that came out. And yeah, it's a great track. I like it. It's a bit different from what we would normally do. So, but it's nice to try new things, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And with this aspect relating one of the new forms of hearing music, as you can see now, the people are using more into our AI to create music, art in general. A lot of people are using for a lot of stuff. So, what's your point of view on, about now the AI is entering in the in the career of the art, music, painting, etc.
I suppose it's not something we would ever use. We'll never use that for music or for art, for our records or for our t-shirts or for anything. Having said that, we did approach an AI guy to do a video for us, which didn't quite pan out. So from that perspective, it could be pretty interesting. I can see why people might want to use it as a basis for something rather than, just to get an initial idea for something. If you're maybe struggling, if you've maybe got a bit of, you're just struggling to get started with an idea, you just need that sort of spark, then maybe that's quite helpful for it. But yeah, well, it's not something we would ever do. I've got no problem with people using it. If they want to use it and it comes out cool, then by all means, then go for it. But AI music, I've heard of kind of like it's an AI generator. I think it kind of does djent. I've heard that. So it's all sort of 0-1 djenty rhythms, and it's quite interesting to hear. But yeah, so from a kind of experimental point of view, it's quite interesting. But it'll definitely come more into art as a whole. Music, perhaps, maybe not, because I think you can tell a little bit when it's AI generated.
Okay, talking about now, especially for the promotion of this new album, what kind of plans do you have for this Void kind? Perhaps you will embark in tours in Europe, perhaps US, Asia, or who knows, your first steps here in Latin America. Who knows?
Yeah, well, I'd love to tour in Latin America. Yeah, Peru, where you are, and just that would be a fantastic experience because I know there's a lot of people who like metal in South America. It's pretty popular, so yeah, and it would just be a great place to go. I mean, it's not somewhere I've ever been myself. I don't think any of the guys in the band have been to South America, but it's definitely a goal of ours. One day to maybe do that. It's the cost that's really the thing that stands in the way, and visas as well, especially for the North of America. I mean, we've been there once. We did a couple of dates in Las Vegas and San Diego, but the cost of it is quite high. So it needs to be, it makes sense for us to do that. But immediately after Voidkind, what we're doing is we're doing a UK tour initially for about a week. Then we go to Europe with Conjurer for about a week with them. Then we come back, we play a hometown show, a launch show for the record in Edinburgh and Scotland, which should be cool. And then we head back out again to Europe for some dates in France initially. And then we go to Germany, Belgium, Holland, Hungary, Austria, those types of places. And we're playing in Mystic Festival in Poland, which I'm looking forward to. That should be cool. And Copenhagen in Denmark as well. So there's a couple of cool festivals coming up that we're doing, and also Motoculture Festival in France. Again, these are new festivals to us that we've not played before, so really looking forward to those. So that's the main sort of plan, and that's kicking off not next week, 2 weeks' time. So just after we've released the record, we're heading out. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun, and even still, further into the year, we've got more dates planned for the rest of the year in October as well. Bless you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, interesting details to know about this promotion of this new album. Other detail that I saw especially in the music from Dune, is that you are, especially from the first two cover arts, because of the Aenenka from Eteman Aenka, and then now this Void kind. It's a curious thing because I tried to understand the concept of both cover arts. Is very hard to understand the concept because I'm trying to relate the name and try to relate the music with the first cover, the Etena Maenka, and now with this Voidcan. And some way it's like this, I'm losing something because perhaps it's the structure of the cover art. I don't know, perhaps it's something very abstract. I know I so how do you explain the relationship in the cover art, the name, obviously in the music especially for this Voidcan?
Okay. Well, the cover art is a god, and the whole concept of the album kind of goes around religion and different. Well, not on Earth based, but in the universe that we've created. So every track is a different aspect of how someone would maybe deal with that. So it's based on particular people's experiences. So, for example, we've got a track called Reliquary, which is the perspective of someone who's being persecuted for the religious beliefs. We've got basically the whole sort of religious zealot idea behind it, and people try to reach transcendence. So what you see is people proceeding into the void. This is basically the last track, Cobalt Sun Necropolis, is how it all ends. So they all go into, they all process into the God, into this big mass, and everything basically goes wrong. So that's where it kind of what you see in the cover of the album is the God, and religious zealots going inside it.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know if that helps. I don't know if that's any help to you, but
Okay. The detail, other detail that I know into the music from Dune is that you are leaned down from the progressive US, o sea, influenced by the US bands, the Mastodon, other kind of stuff from the US. And obviously, when you talk about the United Kingdom, you have big reference into the progressive area. So like Pink Floyd, a lot of Jethro Tull, etc., etc. More bands came from United Kingdom. But so in this aspect, in what aspect of your life did you decide to create a band with influence with the US scene and not taking your influence from your country?
got you. It's more what it's kind of what we were into when we were growing up. Like when I was a kid, when I was 13, Tool released Undertow, and that was a massive record for me. So from that point on, I was into stuff like that. The Neurosis, those types of bands, you know, ISIS, all the kind of post metal bands. It's just what we love. You know, we're more into the Russian circles and instrumental post metal bands like Pelican and that type of thing. But with other guys, Victor in particular, he loves Judas Priest and that type of stuff. But this isn't a progressive band, but it's still a British metal band. Obviously, we all love the classics, Sabbath and Zeppelin. And I've recently just kind of, my brother, who's a bit older than me, had a massive record collection, and he was into Floyd, Pink Floyd, King Crimson as well, who I've recently just actually started getting into. I should have done years ago, but I've been listening to them a lot lately, and yeah, they're fantastic. So yeah, Robert Fripp's guitar playing is something else. So I think that's going to be an influence, and I can see how that's influenced bands that I like as well. So yeah, but it's just the bands that we're into just tend to come from America. There's bands in the UK like Bosk. There's a lot of post metal bands. We've toured with Bosk, who are an excellent post metal band that we're all fans of. So there are those types of bands in our country, but the main originators like Mastodon and Tool are American, and that's just where they're from. You know, music's music. It doesn't really matter where it comes from, in my opinion. You know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that is true. That is true. Well, no matter where it comes from, correct. So, and when relating to this one, as I mentioned in the first question, talking about other kind of aspects in the music industry, especially in the metal, well, the metal in general, as you can see, there are a lot of releases around the world. I think each weekend is 100 releases, singles,
Yeah.
EPs, demos, albums, I don't know, a lot of
Mhm.
things. It's very
Loads.
difficult
Yeah.
for we are in the media working on the reviews, interviews, news, etc. For us, it's very difficult to catch up a lot of releases. It's
Mhm.
for us. I don't know how is you are a musician, you are working more harder than us. So in this aspect, for you, is good or is bad that this saturated? Or I will rephrase this question: it is saturated or is not saturated the scene around the world?
Is it saturated? I think I don't know, with things like Spotify and you can kind of get, you call it option paralysis. There's just too much, and you don't know what to concentrate on. I think these days, because back in the day when I was getting into music, the only way I could go and find out about a band would be to buy a music magazine like Metal Hammer or Kerrang, find out about it, and then actually go and buy the record to hear what it sounded like. And you know, you'd save up all your pocket money or whatever, and you can maybe only buy one record a week if you were lucky. You know, so and you also listen to that record to death because you paid for it. So these days you could just go into YouTube or Spotify. You know, 10 for us it's £10 a month for Spotify, and you can listen to all the music that you want. So I think saturation, yeah, possibly, but I think, I don't know, from the scene that I kind of look into, I think there's a good amount of stuff there, and it's always nice to hear new stuff. I'm always looking for new stuff myself. So I will just go through YouTube channels, just looking for new bands that I might be into, or Spotify playlists or whatever, just to find something new and cool. So I think the amount of options are good, but from your point of view, I feel your pain, because that's a lot to have to review.
It's a lot of
that's
bands.
a lot. It's a lot of bands, and I don't know. I don't envy you having to do that, but yeah.
Okay, okay. Well, I understand. We are very close to this interview, Alan, and for this aspect, as you can see, other detail that is appearing in the world is that a lot of musicians are more releases that you mentioned about the YouTube. There are a lot of musicians playing well the instruments, drums, bass, singing. I don't know. A lot of musicians appears on YouTube channels. Malabar like calisthenic, doing some malabaries on there, a lot of things, a lot of things. So what is your point of view about now the music in general is a little forgotten, and are now it's more like the people are doing crazy stuff with the instruments and no feel the vibe to understand what is to be a create a song. As you can see, a lot of YouTube players cover songs like I don't know how do you say this word in English, malabares. I
My
remember,
advice.
um, I think, mm, oh, juggle. We juggle the interest. They juggle with instruments, drums, guitar players, etc., etc. You can see these aspects on YouTube channel with a lot of musicians playing fast,
Yeah,
playing extreme. I don't know. What's your opinion? Is
yeah.
it good or is bad
What's
for
my opinion
the?
on that? That's good for them. That's cool for them. It's not for me. I don't. I wouldn't. I don't. It doesn't interest me. But if someone's skilled at an instrument and they want to record a video of it and put it on YouTube, that's entirely up to them. As yeah, more power to them. If that's the way they get their kicks, that's all good for them. Or I mean, I'm trying to think of actually. There's some that are really good. There's the drummer guy. What's his name? He's an incredible drummer, and he's fun to watch because he does a lot of stuff with like one hand or whatever. Or I think, do you know what I'm talking about? Ellis the I can't remember his name. He's got a beard. He's fantastic on the drums. He does little YouTube shorts and that type of thing. So from that perspective, I find it pretty entertaining. I prefer to watch drummers than people play the guitar, though. Even though I'm a guitarist bass player, I'd rather watch a drummer. But I think it's okay. There's a space for all of that, you know. If that's what, if maybe someone isn't in a band or maybe can't doesn't write music themselves, but they're skilled at the instrument, then yeah, go on YouTube, make a video, put it out there. You never know, you might get a band together, something might happen with it. Who knows? You know?
Okay, okay. Well, Alan, the sad times arrive at this interview. I hope you enjoyed this one like me. And
Yeah,
thank
man.
you very much for the opportunity to talk with you. And congratulations on this new record. And perhaps you want to add something to your Latin American fans and obviously Metallerium followers.
Yeah, no, thanks for taking the time to chat. It was good fun. Yeah, and well, the album comes out on the 19th. By all means, listen to it on Spotify wherever you can, or order the record, even better. Hopefully, one day we'll be able to play shows in South America at some point. I'd love to go and visit there, in Peru especially, because you've got some pretty cool stuff there. Machu Picchu and the Nazca Lines and things like that, which I wouldn't mind visiting and seeing. So yeah, no, hopefully one day we'll get there. But yeah, thank you very much for chatting.